Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Now I'm really excited about today's video. Well, kind of excited, because this video does not have anything to do with the Xbox One, and I plan on getting the Xbox Series, well, the X Series in this fall, and yeah, no news apply to that. Weep weep. However, for the fortunate people who do have a PlayStation, which I'm sure there is a lot of, considering PlayStation is the best current console around, well, that's a general opinion. That's not my opinion. Anyway, this year looks like it has some of the best games that we've ever experienced, and that's a lot, especially considering I've played Witcher 3. But Cyberpunk 2077, we have so much exceptional games. However, this list only is exclusive for PlayStation. Yes, we are talking about only exclusive games today. I can't wait to see how these games get reviewed and talked about, and maybe they'll be praised, maybe they'll be criticized. In any case, we have new games at every corner, even for exclusives. And for every disappointing game we get, I'm sure we'll get two great ones in return. And I'm not just talking about games, I'm talking about AAA games. Like, as we've seen from all these official trailers, we got so many of them. And I think I'm talking too much. So, in any case, let's get on to the actual video. The top 5 PlayStation games coming out in 2020. Coming in at number 5, we have the highly anticipated Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yep, we're getting a lot of remakes now. Final Fantasy VII Remake is an upcoming action role-playing game developed and published by Square Enix for the PlayStation 4. The game is a remake of the original 1997 Final Fantasy game, which in its own right sold 2 million copies in the first 3 days. Yeah, not bad for an exclusive game in 1997. And as of 2019, the game has sold 12.3 million units worldwide. However, I'm sure PlayStation looks to break those past numbers with its latest installment. The Final Fantasy VII Remake retells the story of the original Final Fantasy VII. Players control Cloud Strife, a corporation former Shinra soldier who joins the Avalanche, an eco-terrorist group, as a mercenary to fight the Shinra, who have been draining the planet's life energy. The game is a full remake with fully polygonal graphics, as opposed to the pre-rendered environments of the original. Exploration and battle mechanics both take place in real time, like Final Fantasy XV. The game also features an altered active time battle system from the original, which gradually fills up slowly or can fill faster depending on which type of attacks you use. The remake was announced following the years of fan requests and rumors. Key staff members returned, including character designer Tetsuya as director and main character designer, director Yoshinori Kataze as producer, and writer Kazu Shinji. They also added content and redesigned the characters to balance realism and stylization. Well, if it's anything as good as the Resident Evil 2 remake, then let's just say we're going to be looking at a really good game here. Square Enix is set to release the game in episodic installments within the first scheduled for release on April 10th, 2020.
War is unending. Perhaps it must be that way.
Coming in at number 4, we have Nioh 2. Its predecessor Nioh received generally a favorable reception according to review aggregator on Metacritic. Most critics praised the game for its combat, difficulty, setting, and use of Japanese folklore as the high points, as well as giving players the option to choose different graphical modes for the PlayStation 4. While the game's story and inventory management were met with some criticism, the Eurogamer still ranked the game as number 35th on their list of the top 50 games of 2017, while Polygon ranked it as number 42nd on their list of the top 50 best games of 2017. The game was also nominated for the PlayStation 4 and Destructoid's Game of the Year Awards of 2017, and the Best PlayStation 4 Game and Best RPG in IGN's Best of 2017 awards. Nioh was later one of the 3 games invited to the Global Game Business Summit at the Tokyo Game Show in 2018 as an example of a game that succeeded globally. And I'm sure Nioh 2 looks to do the same or even top those results, as Nioh 2, similar to its predecessor, is an action role-playing game. Players can recreate their own playable character, who was a yokai spirit, Players are equipped with a variety of weapons such as the Odachi and the Kusarigami. Yeah, my Japanese is bad. And they earn new skills as they progress in the game. When players defeat a hostile yokai, some of them drop soul cores that allow players to use yokai abilities and transform into a yokai after they are deposited into a shrine. The game also features a 3-player cooperative mode, which sounds pretty interesting from its style of game. Usually in a game like this, you're normally by yourself, but playing it with 2 other people sounds like it could be pretty fun. In addition to the new story trailer for Nioh 2, the folks behind the upcoming game also have a detailed and downloadable content plan for the title. It sounds like there's going to be plenty of action to go around even after the game initially launches. Supposedly they have 3 major DLC releases planned. Team Ninja creative director Tom Lee stated in a recent PlayStation blog post, with each focusing on a different storyline that predates the events of Nioh 2, promising hours of additional gameplay that will provide plenty of a challenge for those thirsting for more. The game is set to release on March 13th, 2020. Coming in at number 3, we have a game that's similar to Nioh 2. Ghost of Tsushima is an upcoming action-adventure game developed by Sucker Punch Productions and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. Featuring an open world for players to explore, it revolves around Jin Sakai, one of the last samurai on Tsushima Island during the first Mongol invasion of Japan in the 1270s. The setting is set in Tsushima Island of feudal Japan in the late 13th century. It is an open world that shows the beauty and diversity of Tsushima with meticulously crafted regions. There are vast countrysides, fields, tranquil shrines, ancient forests, villages, mountainscapes, and landmarks. Experience natural harmony and solace. The world is populated with rich characters and friends and unlikely allies that you'll encounter while adventuring. Sakai is supposedly said to be the only playable character in the game. The game also puts you in a third-person perspective. It features, like I said once again, a large open world without any waypoints and can be explored without guidance. Players can traverse to different parts of the game's open world quickly by either riding on a horse or by using an item that acts as a grappling hook. It will be available to access areas that are difficult to reach. The game will also feature side quests that other characters can be interacted with. This game sounds pretty interesting, but if you ask me, it sounds really similar to Nioh 2, but a lot more serious. And if I'm playing a ninja game, I kind of want to have fun. Anyway, the game is scheduled for release in the second quarter/third quarter of 2020.
On your feet, old blood. Not dead. Yet.
Coming in at number 2, we have Godfall. Godfall is an upcoming action role-playing game developed by Counterplay Games and published by Gearbox Publishing. The game is set in a high fantasy setting, split into realms of earth, water, air, fire, and spirit, where players take on the role of one of the last Exalted Knights Order to prevent a major apocalyptic event. The player has 3 primary character classes to select from, based which of their armor sets, valor plates they equip. Additional valor plates and augments can be equipped to customize how this character class plays out. It supports single player and up to 3 players and drop in and drop out cooperative mode. The game is described as a looter slasher, as well based on the looter shooter concept of completing missions and gaining better loot for further quests. The focus of the combat is on melee attacks rather than ranged ones. Now, so far, we have very little information on this game since its official trailer was shown at the Game Awards. I'm sure we'll get more information on this by the time E3 comes around. Or, actually, now that I think about it, PlayStation, I think they're opting out of E3, so maybe we'll get more information about this later in the year. Probably September. I think that's when the PlayStation event or the PlayStation briefing comes out. So maybe we'll hear more about this in the third quarter of the year. In my opinion, it was the best game shown at the Game Awards, and I just wish it was on the X series as well, but we can't have everything we want. The game is set to be released on PlayStation 5 and Microsoft Windows in late 2020. It was the first game confirmed for release on the PlayStation 5.
Look who decided to join us. All right. You all know the drill.
Coming in at number 1, we have The Last of Us 2. And considering its predecessor was Game of the Year in 2013, this shouldn't really come as a surprise to anyone. The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the highest anticipated games of 2020, and I would look forward to it if I had a PlayStation, but once again, I don't. Anyway, The Last of Us Part 2 is an upcoming action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4. Set 5 years after the events of the original Last of Us back in 2013, players control 19-year-old Ellie, who comes into conflict with a mysterious cult in a post-apocalyptic United States. The Last of Us 2 is played from third-person perspective, and players use firearms and improvised weapons, and can also use stealth to defend against hostile humans and cannibalistic creatures infected by a mutated strain of the cordyceps fungus. Cordyceps fungus, yeah. I know what that is. And that's pretty much all the information we have on this game as well so far. We haven't got that much yet because they haven't released as much. I'm sure we'll get more information around March or April, considering the game is scheduled to release on May 29th of 2020. And as soon as we get more information, I shall definitely output it in the best possible way I can. But till then. And that's pretty much the video. What did you guys think of the list? Normally I'd say it's my opinion, but this one seems kind of like a general one. I mean, I guess you could argue that the Final Fantasy coming in at 5th place was a little wrong, but if I think about it, I think Nioh 2 is something we've all played and we've looked forward to, and I think we know what to expect. I think they're really going to improve on what they did from the first game, especially them considering, they have a whole DLC lineup planned out, as well as they added the cooperative mode. The new cooperative mode they added in sounds like they have a really good plan of the game, so I think it's gonna be pretty executed in March. If I were to switch the Final Fantasy 15th place with any one of them, it would probably be the Ghost of Tsushima, considering that Nioh 2 and the Ghost of Tsushima are kind of in the same time era and place. I don't really know too much about the Ghost of Tsushima, and they haven't really released that much. Well, they have, but it looks more like a serious game, and compared to Nioh 2, I think I'm going to have a lot more fun with Nioh 2 if I had the PlayStation, and I think a lot of other people will as well. Even though a lot of people are looking forward to Ghost of Tsushima, I don't think it's going to exceed our expectations, but I'll make a video on that later. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video and you guys made it to the end, thank you so much. I'm trying to output as much content as I can, but do it at the highest possible quality, not quantity, quality, because I'm putting out a lot of quantity. And if you guys accept those outputted results, I will be very grateful. Comment your opinion below anyway on what you think the top 5 PlayStation games in 2020 should be. Maybe I got something you wanted in here, maybe I didn't. I would like to know your opinion anyway. It just would make me proud. But you know what would make me even more proud? What would make me a very happy man? If you guys liked and subscribed, because expect more of these videos. Expect an Xbox one too, even though I don't know what Xbox has. But I will do my best to gather up the top 5 best that I think, and I will display it in the best way possible. And if you guys can accept my reasoning for displaying the 5 that I displayed, I will be, I guess happy again. Anyway, I'm talking too much, so expect more videos in the future. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.